When was the last time you were on a date and it went well and you started leaning in for a kiss, you were going for it, and then she turned away? Or she said something, or she said, "Not now," or she giggled and moved her body away. Anyway, you got rejected.
Okay, bye.
If that happened to you recently or fairly recently, you probably didn't feel great about it. You felt kind of shit. Maybe you regretted going on a date in the first place, and then maybe you fumbled the rest of the date because of that.
I'll break your heart.
Already broken.
Definitely an experience I made many times when I started dating actively. This feeling is what holds most people back to even trying to approach a woman on the street, to even going for the kiss during a date, or trying to escalate things further. So in this video I want to talk about escalation and why it is actually good, or why it is actually necessary for you to get rejected as many times as possible in order to progress. And what I'm going to do in this video is tell the life of two different dudes. One dude, his name is Jack. The other guy is named Tyler. They have a similar lifestyle, they have a similar job. Let's say they're both working in software engineering, they're both living in the same city, they're both the same age, they both look the same. But there is a crucial difference between the two guys, which is Tyler is approaching actively. So when he sees a beautiful woman on the street or in a cafe, he walks up and says hi to her. And Tyler is ready to be rejected, therefore. So small difference, but we'll see in this video why it makes a huge difference in the span, let's say, of 6 months in the two dudes' dating life. So as mentioned, Tyler is doing approaching. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. What does Jack do? How does Jack meet ladies? I mean, Jack is also horny. He wants to get laid, right? So naturally, he does what everybody else does. He installs all the different dating apps. He's got Tinder, Premium, Platinum, Diamond. He's got the Hinge, he's got the Bumble, he's got them all. And he's swiping all day. Therefore, he's obviously doing 0 approaches. He's still spending a lot of time on his dating life, and he is getting matches, so that's for sure, but he's not doing approaches. Meanwhile, Tyler, on the other hand, he's not like an approach machine, he's not a pickup artist, he's not an ultra day gamer. He's not even doing that much in terms of minutes per day as Jack is doing, but Tyler is able to, whenever he sees a beautiful girl on the street in a cafe, to say hi. And all of us know, who live in a medium to big size city, at least twice a day, some woman walks past that is approachable, that we actually want to meet, but often we just don't do it. But Tyler does. So over the course of 6 months, around 180 days, let's say he does roughly 1.5 approaches per day on average, which gets us to 270 approaches. Okay, let's move on to how many dates these dudes are getting. Jack's standards are way lower than Tyler's, because keep in mind, Jack is just swiping and he's just trying to get any matches. He's accepting anyone, any 4, any 5. He just fucking wants to get laid with someone. Versus Tyler, who actively approaches the women who he sees on the street in daylight and is attracted to them, and then that's the kind of girls he's approaching. Okay? So out of personal experience, Tinder and the other apps have become increasingly hard, but let's say Jack has an okay profile and he's texting a lot, he's swiping a lot, and he can secure a date every week, okay? So over 6 months, there will be about 25 dates. 25. Meanwhile, Tyler, with his 270 approaches, he, let's say, got some feedback from friends, his game is pretty good. Sometimes he closes girls on Instagram, sometimes he gets their number, and let's say between 10 and 20%, which is totally realistic, of the girls he approached show up for a date. So let's, in the middle, 15% of 270. Let's be conservative, 30, because some girls got busy or got back with their boyfriend or whatever. So 30 dates, which for now is not that much more than Jack, but keep in mind, it is with girls who are definitely more attractive and more into him because he already showed his masculine side. He did the approach, he did a compliment, he showed kind of like some conversation skills, he closed them successfully, he took some leadership when setting up the date. So I would say the quality of leads in Tyler's camp here is definitely higher. So let's go on a date with Jack, right? How does Jack run his dates? Obviously, he's lacking a little bit the drive, the masculinity, so he's obviously using alcohol. He has his routine, the bar at the corner, and then he's talking about this shit and da-da-da. So he's trying to get girls drunk, and then hopefully they kind of get a little horny or they're already into him because he says the right stuff or his profile fit their requirements. He's basically only kissing the girls that make it very obvious, right? They like lean into him, they giggle, they touch their hair, they maybe try to kiss him a little bit, and then he goes for it, right? So he does it when he feels like he can't get rejected, which realistically might happen 20% of the time. So 5 makeouts for Jack out of his dates in 6 months. Not so great. Meanwhile, Tyler, he's a closer, right? He already demonstrated on the street he can approach, he can get rejected, because obviously in those 270 approaches, most of them were rejections. It's not a bad thing, he learned, but he had to face it. So he will continue with that theme on the date as well, and he will try to kiss every girl. Everybody who is there, he will try to actually make out with them. And out of personal experience and out of the students I'm coaching, you can definitely make out with about 50% of the girls on a date, because they already knew you a little bit, you had a conversation on the street, they knew how you look like, they were still coming out for the date, you have a better vibe around that. So for sure, Tyler gets minimum 15 kisses because he's trying. And he's also, again, trying with the other 15 that don't kiss him. So he's again ready to getting rejected. So what is happening with those other 15? What about the girls who don't kiss him? Do they storm out the bar? Do they, awkwardly cringe and tell him, what is this? Why are you trying to kiss me? Of course not. They giggle, they turn away, they say no. Maybe they tell him it's too early, or not yet, or they tease him a little bit. They stay flirtatious because obviously they know him. He approached him on the street. They know he's a little bit of a player. They still came out for the date. So often what happens is, just because he tried the first time doesn't mean he will never try again. Often, you should stay cool, which Tyler does. He's non-reactive, he's calm, he knows the game. So he just stays chill, continues the conversation. Maybe they move location. Maybe he tries later to kiss them again and it works then. Or he meets them at a second date at some point because she's just like, in her head, she's like, don't give up my make out thing, virginity so easily to a guy. So, this continues to work out for him in the long term. Now, let's talk about sex.
Hey.
What?
Let's play a game.
Maybe Jack, I don't know, maybe he gets laid with some of these girls. Some go home with him, some not. Let's say 3 of them then actually go home with him because, as we said, they're already really into him. So about 60% of the makeouts, which is realistic. The problem is here again, he's filtering for the worst of the worst, right? He's filtering already on the dating, swiping stage for the lowest tier women. Then he's filtering again, who is gonna meet me for a date? Then he's filtering again, who is then ready to kiss me? And who is still okay fucking me? So he's just getting the bottom. He's not really fighting. He's not a hunter. He's not going for it. He's just basically pointing at a girl and asking, do you want to fuck me? And she's like, no. Do you want to fuck me? No. Do you want to fuck me? All right. And then he takes that one. He doesn't really chase a girl. He's not trying to, date higher level women. Unlike Tyler, he's actually going for it. He's approaching girls who are maybe out of his league, and he's trying to balance that out with charisma and the way he communicates. So he's getting way hotter girls and way more of them. So if we give him kind of the same percentage here, he might get laid with about 8, 9 women here. So let's give it a 9. And as I said, way higher quality. Okay, let's put it in a different format. We have here dates and we have months. So what we have here, 25 dates over the 6 months for Jack. And then probably for Tyler, it might be a little bit more parabolic. I hope that's a correct mathematical term. Because his game just gets better over time. He's learning, he's acquiring skills, So we had here 30 dates. So maybe he's even starting out worse than Jack because, he's going for higher quality women. He's really putting in the work, but then eventually he'll surpass him. And then we almost need another diagram for quality where it would be a really big difference. So, okay, here we got the 2 dudes. after 6 months. Not a huge difference in dates, but the quality of dates is very different. And then here we can see Jack in red. He ends up only with, let's say he has 5, 10, 15 kisses. Meanwhile, he didn't really have to get rejected very much, right? Meanwhile, Tyler, you know, over the course of the time, he had way more makeouts, higher quality. He's actually happy about himself. He actually feels prouder of himself. Keep in mind, every time Jack gets laid, he's drunk, he's hungover, maybe he's waking up to like a 4. He's like, what the fuck did I do? You know, until the next week, he's horny again to do it all again, and he's just in this endless loop of not banging, let's say it how it is, banging ugly chicks. So, meanwhile, Tyler got rejected way more, you know, by whatever scale. So you could make the conclusion that getting rejected leads to a better life. And that's the whole point. Like, who do you think is successful in life with anything? It can be in sport, in business, and in seduction, in dating, in creating networks. It's the people who fall on the face again and again and again and get up again and again and again. So, if you're afraid of rejection, that is a huge problem. Because, or let's say it like this, if you're afraid of rejection and it keeps you from ever getting rejected, that's a huge problem. If you're afraid of rejection, that's fine. I was too for many years, until I found a good network of dudes, and then I found coaches and they helped me, and then I got rejected way more than before, and then I got way better results than I would have ever imagined. So to conclude, ask yourself the question, which of the two guys you actually want to be, right? Even if it would be different, even if Jack would get laid more than Tyler, let's say he figures out some crazy Tinder hack and he got the perfect opening line, and it's just more of ugly chicks in his inbox that meet him for a date, and you know, he figures out a way of going on a date that makes them horny or whatever. Do you really want to be Jack, or you want to be Tyler, the guy who is working, the guy who's improving, the guy who's transforming himself, and the kind of guy who gets rejected and then stays really calm? So therefore the kind of guy who is ready to being rejected because he knows it doesn't affect him. He's cool, he's stable, he loves himself. He looks back at 6 months of crazy transformation. So if you want to get help with this, because it's not easy to doing it alone, I understand that, then you can click below and book a free consultation call with me. I'm doing 2 consultations per day, so be quick. And we can talk about your dating life, your current location, your current situation with relationships, anything that holds you back. We have a 60-minute call together to go through all of this. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.